EQ versus IQ, being emotionally intelligent versus being just intelligent. It's important. I'm going to show you the 4 different levels of EQ, which is being emotionally intelligent. And I'm also going to show you how to master those levels. And here we go. Level 1, very simple, folks. You got to understand your emotions. It doesn't matter where they're coming from, who provoked it, but you have to understand your own emotions. You have to understand, number 2, second level, you also have to understand what triggers those emotions. What triggers those emotional needs as well, because there's not only a range of joy and then anger, but then there's envy and lust, and then I can go on and on and on. There's so many different emotions, but you need to understand what triggers them. You need to understand what needs you need ultimately to be a successful person. So that's level 2. Level 3, very simple, is feeling, in my opinion, is probably the most important, feeling a certain way and then acting a different way. Feeling a certain level of angst or a level of anxiety, but then acting cool, calm, and collected. That's the 3rd level of mastery when it comes to EQ. And then 4 is understand that you can cut the people off that disturb your peace and still be okay with it. So I'm going to show you those 4 things, but then ultimately show you how to master those things. So bitch got a body like Llww. Understanding your emotions. My advice to you is very simple. You need to take inventory and understand the bandwidth of range of which emotions that you have. Can you experience anger? Can you experience joy? What is in between of those 2 things? Take inventory of your different emotions. Again, the range and bandwidth of which you have. An easy way to do that, just very simply, take a values worksheet. Just Google values worksheet or morals worksheet, and then circle the ones that mean the most to you and associate those values with the different emotions of which you associate those values with. Very, very simple, but it's a good way for you to master level 1, which is just simply understanding your emotions. Number 2, working on and understanding your triggers and needs. Look, there's going to be people that piss you off. There's going to be people that make you happy. And again, everything in between. It is what it is. You also, in my opinion, level 2 of mastery with EQ, you have to measure, my friends, the level of intent versus impact. See, in my opinion, someone's intention might be set right, but the impact of which that statement or that action hits you, you need to measure those things, and you need to question the people behind them or the things or actions or events that ultimately came into your life to make you feel those emotions. You need to understand what words, thoughts, comments, actions trigger certain emotions so that you can master those emotions. Real talk, you got to go through some shit. You got to go through some shit to understand some shit about yourself. I always say there's a significant emotional event. You have to see to see. You have to have a significant emotional event happen in your life for you to really understand and see what the person that you become is on the other side, whatever the emotional event is. So number 2, understanding your triggers and needs. And number 3, feeling a certain way. So let's say something happened to you and then ultimately you get angry for whatever happened. And then you can still put a smile on your face, kind of like a psychopath, kind of like a sociopath. It is what it is. But you feel a certain way and you act different. And there's 2 ways that I've found that you can master that level of EQ, level 3. One is, there's a book, QBQ. It's a great book. It's called Question Behind the Question. And typically there's an ulterior motive or some sort of thought process or preconceived notion that happens when something happens in general, or when someone makes a comment or a question or triggers you in some sort of way. And that book really highlights how to think neutrally. There's also a couple other books. Getting to Neutral is one. It Takes What It Takes. Both are by Trevor Moawad. 2 good books. Rob, you can put them right here. 2 good books for you to understand on how to think neutrally and not get too high and not get too low. Understanding that, let's say you're a quarterback and it's the 4th quarter, right? Think about this. Again, level 3 of mastery, feeling a certain way and then acting another. Let's say you are a quarterback and it's the 4th quarter, you're in the Super Bowl and you're up by 2 touchdowns. You would feel joy and excitement and maybe a little of anxiety because you don't want to lose. Maybe you're on the other side. Let's say you're down 2 touchdowns, right? And you have to get back in the game somehow. So one would feel in that situation, you would feel maybe a little down, a little tired, a little sad, or whatever the case is. But ultimately, feeling those feelings emotionally, but then acting as if, because you're a leader and you need to lead your people and you act in a different way, is very, very important. And how you do that is thinking neutrally, typically by understanding what is going on by the question behind the question, or really understanding what's going on. And then lastly, feeling a certain way and acting another, which is level 3. And I'm spending a lot of time on it because it's probably the most important in my opinion. This is the level of mastery that I'm probably at now, is pause, thinking, and acting, or pause, thinking, and asking. See, a lot of times, let's say someone comes up to you, says an off-colored comment, whatever the case is, and it triggers you to be mad. And I just gravitate towards the anger. You got to understand what you gravitate towards as well. Because if you take inventory, which I've talked about, but if you take inventory on your life, you're going to find that there's certain emotions that you actually gravitate towards a hell of a lot more than others. One could be anger, one could be joy, one could be triumph, one could be tribulation, anything in between. You typically gravitate towards one of those things. Now, the key is, in this regard, is pausing, thinking, and acting. So if someone says something, you pause, you think, and then you act accordingly. Or you ask a question, pause, think, ask, hey, why did you say that? Just out of curiosity. Let me clarify, because nothing clarifies like clarity. So again, feeling a certain way, acting another, level 3. Level 2, understanding your triggers and needs. Level 1, understanding just your emotions in general. Let me get to the final level. It's like the final boss. You know, you're the final boss. It's a video game. It's the final boss. You got to defeat the boss. This is my opinion, probably hands down the hardest one to do, but the most important. And it's called DTP, which is understanding who's disturbing your peace, understanding the triggers, understanding the reasons why they're doing what they're doing, and then making a decision to cut somebody off and being okay with it. It's hard to do. You know, they always say change your friends or change your friends. They say, show me your, 5 closest friends. I'll show you your future. I can go on and on and on. But the reality is, people that are disturbing your peace or that are making you fuckwittable, remember that word? Making you fuckwittable, you need to be unfuckwittable. And how you do that is you cut them off. Like I told you to, this is dance, this is money moves. There's a song, Cardi B, I think, is the one. And she sings that. Like, you have to cut people off if they're ultimately disturbing your peace. It's hard to do so, but when you actually do it, you feel a certain way, you're kind of sad, but then eventually you understand that it was for the better. So those are the 4 levels, in my opinion, of EQ: emotional quotient, emotional intelligence, and how you can master those things practically in the real world. So hopefully you found this valuable. I appreciate you. Follow us for more. Follow us on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram at Mr. Cody Adams. If you found this valuable, please share the show. Appreciate you. Thanks.